You swear or affirm
They were the final witnesses in a momentous week on Capitol Hill. David Holmes, counselor at the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine, and Fiona Hill, former Russia advisor with the U.S. National Security Council, who today underlined,
I have no interest in advancing the outcome of your inquiry in any particular direction except toward the truth.
She began by urging Republican lawmakers to ignore a conspiracy theory that's become part of the inquiry, that somehow it was Ukraine, not Russia, that meddled in the 2016 U.S. election. A fictitious theory, she said, evidently pushed by Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani in the face of mountains of evidence it was, in fact, Russia.
So, is it your understanding then that President Trump disregarded the advice of his senior officials about this theory and instead listened to Rudy Giuliani's views?
That appears to be the case, yes.
And so, on the big question, whether Trump wrongly tried to pressure Ukrainian President Zelensky to investigate Trump rival Joe Biden, or, as she put it,
in a domestic political errand.
Hill testified that Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, derisively likened the pressure on Zelensky to a drug deal, and that he described Giuliani, said to have been pressing Ukraine on Trump's behalf, this way.
That Rudy Giuliani was a hand grenade that was going to blow everyone up.
Holmes, meanwhile, testified about overhearing a phone call in Ukraine between Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the EU, who testified yesterday, and Trump.
The president's voice was loud and recognizable.
Holmes first quoted Sondland as saying to Trump
that President Zelensky, quote, loves your ass. I then heard President Trump ask, so he's going to do the investigation. Ambassador Sondland replied that he's going to do it.
Said Holmes he knew investigation was code for Biden, and quoted Sondland later saying that when it came to Ukraine, Trump only cared about big stuff.
I noted there was big stuff going on in Ukraine, like a war with Russia. And Ambassador Sondland replied that he meant big stuff that benefits the president, like the Biden investigation that Mr. Giuliani was pushing.
Okay, so Paul, now that this week's testimony has wrapped, what's next?
Well, you never really know answers to that kind of question around here anymore, Andrew. But these hearings are now probably over. There's Thanksgiving week next week. After that, it'll probably go to the Judiciary Committee, which will probably vote to impeach Donald Trump before Christmas. Then it's to the Senate for probably a 2-week trial in January, after which he'll probably be allowed to stay in office. That's a lot of probablys, but I'll tell you this much, when it's all said and done in January, the 2020 presidential campaign will begin in earnest.
The fun never stops. Paul Hunter, thanks very much.